Hey everybody, welcome to the PC Perspective Podcast. This is episode 258, being recorded on July the 3rd, 2013. I'm Ryan Shrout.
I'm Jeremy Hellstrom.
I'm Josh Walrath!
No, I'm Alan Malentano.
Ken, we've got that dinging again when you hit the button, so go ahead and mute that computer. Oh, well, I don't want to hear that anymore. Even if it's just me, now it's even more annoying. So I'm back. Thanks, you guys, for holding down the fort, and thanks for joining me on a pre-holiday evening, as a holiday eve evening for at least most of us. Not you, Jeremy. You had your party over the weekend.
No, I get to hold the fort tomorrow.
Yeah. I'll still be here. Trust me. I'm using the time where nobody else will be at the office or any other offices, emailing people, including me, to like come in and do stuff and maybe not be, distracted by all that. So I will be in here for at least most of the day tomorrow. Anyway, what about you, Josh? You got any plans for tomorrow?
Freedom has a birthday.
That's a good plan. Alan, and you?
Hibernation.
Me too.
Yeah.
That's going to be my Alan signal from now on. It's just
I'm catching up from being sick for like 3 flipping weeks.
Yeah, that's bad. I had a good time in London. It was an interesting work trip and then an interesting non-work trip. I got sunburnt, as you might be able to tell if you're watching the video version.
You were the only person in England who actually got sunburnt?
It's actually a lot better than it used to be. Like this, my neck and forehead used to be just fluorescent red. So, yeah, I was the actual redneck. So, not a whole lot's happened since you guys did the podcast last week, but we'll talk about the few things that we have in the hardware technology world. Lee, I think he didn't take a sabbatical. He took a very long vacation somewhere in Colorado. So if those forest fires are up there, he didn't start them.
Or many
Arc welding power supplies?
We sent him out to Colorado to test the arc welding capability of all these power supplies.
And the Black Forest.
Yep.
Oops. But he is back. He'll be back actually the next day or so. He posted a review of the high-power Astro PT 700-watt platinum power supply. And I think any power supply that has a UFO in its marketing material is good in my book, right? It's an A+ platinum certified unit, which means it's going to be the most efficient you can get, but it's also going to be a little bit more expensive. It has the Eagle Eye real-time power meter, which I'll show you a picture of in a second, and then silent design with high-quality fans. And the fans will actually turn on to get to quite a bit of load level, actually. So here is, let's see, more UFOs. This is the level load indicator that actually is displayed on the back of your PC, and it has LEDs that go from yellow to green to red, that kind of stuff. It is kind of unfortunate that it's on the back of your PC, and you may never, ever see it. But
Yeah, by the time you'd see that red glow from any power supply.
maybe it's really, really bright red glow, and it says, hey.
Maybe it yells at you.
Ow! Hot! God, it burns!
So this has combined 12-volt outputs of 58 amps, 696 watts, so that's pretty good. Active PFC, power factor control, good assortment of fixed modular cables, 5-year warranty, which is nice. And apparently it has longer cable lengths for easier cable management. What are we looking at price-wise? $159. What do you think? $160 for a 700-watt platinum power supply. It's actually a pretty good price.
That's
And a
not bad
5-year
for
warranty.
platinum.
Yeah, with a 5-year warranty. Yeah, the only weakness that Lee noted was the AC ripple on the 5-volt line, a little bit higher than he would like to see, but obviously didn't cause a big enough concern not to give it the PC per Gold award. This shiny thing right here. Whoa. Shiny. Whoa. So check out that review if you are in need of a power supply with an LED load indicator on it, or just a power supply in general. You could put gaff tape over the back and never see the LEDs if you want. I guess I don't know why you would do that, but also today I posted up we recorded this right before I left for London. Just posted it up this afternoon, a quick video preview of the Corsair Obsidian Series 900D case, which is really large.
Did you get a hernia in lifting it up onto that table?
I made Ken do it. So
No, but he strained himself shoving Ken into it.
Does the 2001 Space Odyssey soundtrack play as you open up the box for that case?
we can rig it to do that if we want to. And frankly, I think Corsair missed out on that marketing opportunity. You are correct. I mean, look at that. In that video, look.
I want you to listen, you need to put Ken in an ape suit, and he needs to beat his chest while dancing around that square.
I mean, we used this case when JJ was here, when we did our Z87 videos for part of the overclocking portion. And it sat between us on this table where he was on this side and I was on this side. And we literally
Did you yell at him and say, JJ, tear that wall down?
There's no reason we should be separated by morals or technology in this way. So it's a big case. I mean, look at this picture here where that is a full-size ATX motherboard in that case.
And it looks small.
Yeah.
It looks like a business card.
Well, okay. All right, sure.
And when you pulled it out of the box, did you hear ba-da-da, ba? You're trying to lift it in. Never mind.
No, that was a bad one. That was not good.
That's really big.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question.
Okay.
Why?
So what's interesting about this case is that first, as Ken said, America. And then after that is it can hold up to 15 fans. It can hold 5 radiators. And it can hold 15 hard drives. So there's a lot of space in here. So if you look at this picture, here's your full-size ATX motherboard. There's 3 drive bays here. It actually only ships with 3, so you can buy extra from Corsair, 2 additional ones to get 15 drive bays. So you can fill in this space right here, and you can fill in this space right here.
You know, I figured it out.
Oh.
Corsair is actually bringing in illegal immigrants with these boxes.
They're just hiding them in there?
They're just hiding them in and shipping them across the sea.
Could be. It's a long.
Wait, you mean that ancient dream I had of when the AMD CPUs were supposedly being shipped with small Asian women? This dream could actually come true now?
You had that dream?
No, it was a story long ago on the internets.
Oh, that sounds very odd.
It was.
If I look back here at the case again, you can actually hold. Let's see. How does this work? It also holds 2 power supplies, as Ken reminded me right there. So you can see that it'll hold 2.
Can you see the LEDs though?
You could, if you look at the back of them, you could. Yeah, you actually could. It can hold a 480 millimeter radiator here. It can hold a 240 millimeter in the same compartment on the back side. It can hold a 480 up top as well, I think. And then a 240 in the front, and then a 180 or maybe a 140 on the back. So, I mean, you can have a lot of water cooling technology in here. You can have a lot of space for expansion. Like I said, 2 power supplies, 15 hard drives, 5 radiators, 15 fans. Obviously, you can't do all of that at the same time. You can't have 15 hard drives and 5 radiators, for example. It just depends on what your configuration needs are going to be. Plus,
can you make it levitate though with all the fans?
No, it's pretty heavy. I actually like the case a lot. It's built very well. There's a couple little quirks that I don't like the drive bay sleds are very cheap feeling compared to the rest of the case, which is kind of annoying. Something else, the doors, it's a single push button on the back and you pull the door off. The doors don't quite come off as perfectly as I would like. There's a little bit of, sometimes you have to jiggle a little bit to
Does it vibrate any with the fans going?
I haven't really tested that far yet. Right, especially not with that many fans going, because it comes with 4 fans.
Is it going to be like the Memorex? You're sitting in the chair, and it's
the dog is there with the scarf on too. Yeah. Maxell, not Memorex.
I can't.
Audio
remember.
file over there at the desk says "Meow," whatever. So. We posted a video perspective, as we branded them, of the 900D. So go take a look at that. We kind of walk through all the features. We walk through what it does well, what maybe it doesn't do very well, and
Drop that bottom tray.
yeah, it's nice.
Oh, I'll
It's
slap that
magnetic.
back
It's
in.
all magnetic,
Oh,
which is
harder.
nice. And the fan filters on it are magnetic. They just kind of slide off. They have fan filters for all the intakes, which is a plus. So, yeah, there we go. Check that out.
So where do you put your chronic?
Anywhere you want. In this case, anywhere you want.
That's why they sell add-on 3.5-inch base. That they're 3.5-inch base.
Okay, let's talk with Josh. We have to.
Do you have to?
I was trying to avoid it for another week, but I had to come back.
Yeah, sorry.
So this is a article roundup you did of some mid-range graphics cards, HD 7790, GeForce 650 Ti Boost cards from ASUS, MSI, and Galaxy. Why don't you walk us through the cards that you had, and then, I don't know, what you thought about them?
Talk about them?
Yeah.
You know, you had covered, Bonaire a couple of weeks back,
Yep.
and it's a new chip from AMD, and it slides in between the HD 7770 and the HD 7850. Now, it's a single chip. It's really power efficient. It's got something like 896 stream processors, 14 CUs. It's only 128-bit wide memory bus. But it runs at a gigahertz, and it's only like an 85-watt TDP card overall. And so we were able to get two of those puppies in. One is the ASUS HD 7790 DC2. It has the DirectX 2 cooling technology, as Ken is so adequately showing on the stream. I mean, it's it's a small card, but the cooling is significantly larger than the card itself. MSI provided another one. It's got a big 100-millimeter fan on that puppy. And again, these are very cool running cards. They don't pull a lot of power. They've got a single 6-pin PCIe power connection. And they barely need that because, again, they're pulling around 85 watts, and just plugging it into a PCI Express 16 slot is going to give you 75. So you can see that the potential headroom in these cards are pretty tremendous. Now, on the NVIDIA side, Galaxy provided us with one of their GTX 650 Ti Boost cards. And this is, essentially just the basic card at stock speeds, but Galaxy has provided their own really kind of interesting cooler, which, as far as I can see, looks like the Mach 1 racer from Speed Racer.
It kind of does, yeah.
Yeah, but it's gray and dark teal, and it's got a nice smoked, transparent fan in there, and that's an 80-millimeter unit. I tested all three of these, and I'll tell you what, I was kind of impressed by them all. They each offer something a little bit different, and I think what in my review, I compared it against the old HD 5870, which is a high-end card from 3 years ago. It was a $400 card when it first came out. The thing was kind of a monster. It was one of the first, true high-powered DX11 cards. Back when NVIDIA was kind of twiddling their thumbs on the GTX 480 and Fermi architecture. But now we have these sub $200 cards that are outperforming, or at least matching, this previous high generation, high performance card from I guess 2 generations ago.
Yeah.
A lot of the benchmarks, synthetics, the new cards really spank the old one.
Yeah, they do.
They're all right in the same area. When we finally get to games, we see that the 650 Ti Boost started to really kind of stretch its legs. It's got a 192-bit memory bus. It pulls something like 140 watts TDP. Well, 140 watts supposedly. And in the majority of actual games, the Ti came out ahead. Synthetics and whatnot, they're all around the same. And the only real exception to this, and one that was kind of funny, was when I tested OpenCL through Luxmark. Now, I tested these products on the i7-3770K, and that scored something like 587 points.
Not something like. It was exactly 587 points.
Yeah. And the HD 7790s were what? 1,056, 1,036, something like that?
1,036, yeah.
The GTX 650 Ti scored 334 points. So, as I said in my review, this is the Verge 3D of OpenCL software. It actually decelerates a computer when running this particular application. So, as we can see, NVIDIA really focused on gaming performance, and they kind of let all the OpenCL, GPU stuff go to the side. And that's fine if you only play games, but I mean, if you're wanting to run the Adobe CS6 with the latest OpenCL updates, you might want to look at a different card. But
fair enough.
At the end, these are all really good cards. The GTX 650 Ti Boost, this particular number is $179, has 2 gigs of memory, and in games like Metro 2033, it made a huge difference in overall performance. This got the Silver Award because it ran very, very well. It was well designed. The cooler's a little bit louder than the other products,
Okay.
but it wasn't overwhelming. And then for the Gold Award, I gave it to the ASUS HD 7790 Direct CU2. This is really an overbuilt card. In terms of components, cooling, and whatnot, I just couldn't stress this out no matter what I did. It stayed cool. It stayed really quiet. It looks nice. It's got big 8mm super pipes.
No, you can't use that terminology, I'm afraid.
On ASUS.
Right.
It can only be MSI.
Right.
Damn it. But anyway, this is a $149 card, expected to start going down in price soon because the Editor's Choice winner here in this roundup was actually the MSI card. It was a little bit underbuilt, but it performed exactly the same as the Asus. I mean, it is clocked a little bit lower, but the one thing that really evened this all out is AMD limited overclocking to 1200 megahertz core and 1600 megahertz for memory. And so both of the HD 7790 cards clocked exactly the same, except this one's $20 cheaper, and it was just as quiet and nearly as cool, but it only has the 5mm heat pipes, so it's not the super pipe. But for $20 plus a $10 mail-in rebate, it's kind of a big deal. And plus, this is really, really, really quiet. It's got the 100mm. I like fondling my cards.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I do the same. I just do it off camera.
Okay.
I can't even hear it spin while you're fondling it. It is quiet.
Yeah, it is. But 100mm fan, the propeller blade technology that MSI has patented. It's a good little product for not a whole lot of money. And that's kind of why it got our Editor's Choice, because it performed as well as the high-end product from 3 years ago. And it pulled very little power. You could overclock it to the highest potential that AMD is allowing it. And plus, it's got a caution. See, it says caution up there because you don't want to put your fingers in the fan.
While it's spinning or while it's not spinning?
I'm not sure yet, but I'm trying as hard as I can.
Try both scenarios and let me know. What about power consumption on these? I'm looking at the graph here on that page, and it looks like 650 Ti Boost did use quite a bit more power than the AMD cards.
It was about a 50-watt difference in between the 650 Ti Boost as compared to the 7790s. I think we see something kind of interesting here because the GTX 680, when they first introduced it, they said, hey, this is an incredibly efficient architecture. At the high end, it has high performance. low power consumption for its market. But then Kepler didn't quite shrink as nicely as I think they were expecting to. I'm not entirely sure why, because the 650 Ti Boost does consume significantly more power than what its performance should have. And and you look at like the original 650 Ti and the 650 and below,
Right.
which were really, really underpowered, but still consumed as much power as like the HD7750 and HD7770. And again, performance was kind of outclassed on the NVIDIA side versus what AMD was able to offer. But at the same time, when we look at the 7950 and 7970, those both pulled a lot more power than the GTX 680.
Yeah.
And again, was only a little bit faster. So it's kind of interesting to see where the architecture kind of ends up in terms of power and performance. But this is only like 15 watts less than the old HD 5870, which was a 40 nanometer chip, and it ran fairly hot, not excessively so. But it does pull a lot more power than those HD 7790s. Those are very, very efficient chips for. I mean, they're only 5 watts more than the HD 7770, which it outclasses really, really easy, and it approaches that of the 7850. So AMD did a nice job with this particular chip in getting the most performance out of what they have in terms of wattage and heat dissipation.
All right. Well, that's an interesting comparison. If you guys want to see all the benchmarks and there's some more information on the overclocking side of these three cards, check out the full review. Just went up as we were recording this. HD 7790 and 650 Ti Boost Roundup, ASUS, MSI, and Galaxy. Thank you so much for your time, Josh. I really appreciate it.
Whatever.
Let's move on to some news of the week. There's a little bit here. Scott posted a story on apparently there is a quote about EA rethinking Origin. Jeremy, did you see anything about this, or is this new to you as well?
Well, no, I mean, EA, the most trusted company in gaming ever.
Oh, yeah.
Has been shocked to find out that, they're... Whoa. Oh, that just looked very odd. But they're shocked to find out that people weren't a huge fan of Origin.
Huh.
They sort of took this idea where they were going to sell you the games that they made and only the games that they made and update them, at least until they felt like killing the server and not supporting the game anymore. And, people didn't fall in love with it like we did with Steam, where you could buy games from anywhere you wanted and they were always on sale and you could get free stuff. And, hey, they're not the best thing on the planet, but Steam did a good job. They sort of tried to go with the good old games model where you come to us and you buy the game, but the good old games was just you come to us, you buy the game, and that's it. We leave you alone and never bother you again. Origin was, well, maybe you could update, or hey, the SimCity thing, you should really buy it. We're not going to be able to support it at launch date, but you forgive us. This should be good. So the president is thinking that, they need to sort of rethink how they're going to do this. Either they're going to try and become more of a service like Steam, or sort of focus more towards a good old games model where, hey, if you want to come buy a game, this is where you can do it. If you want a single way to update your games, maybe that's a little bit of an added value to it, but not to the point where it's Origin where it is now, where it's honestly a more painful experience than, waking up in the morning, standing in line at the bank, getting money out of the bank, going on a bus to a store that still sells games physically, buying that game and taking the bus home. That was still less painful than dealing with Origin.
Well, I think you exaggerate maybe a little.
Maybe a little, but I can't remember what my password is anytime they update it because they take it away again.
Well, you should remember
Hyperbole.
Your password, son.
Hyperbole.
All right, maybe I'm exaggerating a bit, but either way, we may see a new Origin. We may just see EA saying, once again, they're going to change everything and then not.
I would guess not. I don't have any faith in that. Other news, the long reign of NVIDIA's Titan supercomputer as the number one is over. It is now being overtaken by the, oh man, Tianhe 2. Tianhe. It's all about the enunciation. It's all about yeah.
Tonal language.
National Supercomputer Center in Guangzhou, China,
Guangzhou.
will host the world's fastest supercomputer by the end of the year. The Tianhe 2, English, means Milky Way 2, is capable of nearly double the floating point performance of Titan, albeit with slightly less performance per watt. The Tianhe 2 was developed by China's National University of Defense Technology, so that's bad news for us. Comparing the new fastest computer with the former, China's Milky Way 2 is able to achieve 33.86 petaflops of calculations from 17.808 megawatts of electricity. The Titan, on the other hand, is able to crunch 17.5 petaflops and draw just 8.2 megawatts. As such, the new Milky Way 2 uses 12.7% more power per flop than Titan, which is a metric I like now, power per flop. Titan is famously based on Kepler, of course. However, the new Milky Way 2 is based on Intel's Xeon Phi coprocessor, which is the remnant.
It's pronounced Phi.
Phi.
No, it's Phi.
Phi. It's whatever. If you include the simplified coprocessor cores as the Xeon Phi FIFO, the new champion is the sum of 3.12 million x86 cores and 1,024 terabytes of memory. Or a petabyte, yes, as Ken pointed out.
That comes in one DIMM, right?
Yeah, no, I think it's one. I think it's just one. Maybe if it's a dual channel, you break it up into half petabytes modules. But yeah. So sorry, Titan, you've been overtaken by Intel. And Intel, I'm sure they didn't donate it, but they sold a bunch of stuff to China.
Well, you know, if only NVIDIA would get their Kepler and put it in a supercomputer, then it'd be like 1/4 the speed of their Fermi.
But wait a minute. Titan does use Kepler.
Well, okay, Titan, but you got to kick that out.
Oh,
It doesn't count.
you want a 650 Ti boost based
Exactly.
Yes.
supercomputer? Okay.
S3 would,
Have Alan run that by his bosses, and we'll see what we come up with.
yeah.
Anybody here own a 3D printer? Ken, you do not own one. Your roommate's nerd club is getting one.
Are they going to buy it at the Microsoft store?
I don't know. Are they going to buy it? Nobody here has a 3D printer? Alan, do you have access to a 3D printer?
I do not.
That seems like something lacking from your repertoire. Wouldn't you agree?
I'm sure I could find access to one.
Yes, we should do that. We should bring one to QuakeCon and print things to give
Print
away.
little Quake symbols.
I know what Josh is printing.
Windows 8.1 will include native support for 3D printers, CNC machines, and laser cutting devices. So I don't have to pay people to make this set anymore. I just hook it up to Windows 8.1.
You know, Ken is the intern. He can figure that out.
Right. Windows 8.1 came out while I was gone, right? The preview did? Okay.
Yeah, only the preview.
Did anybody
Yeah.
install it yet?
In
Don't
a
jump off at
VM,
once. In a VM and?
there's a start button.
Yeah, what does it do
Right.
when you push it?
When
Send
you
you
push
the
it, you get the
tiles.
stupid...
It sends you back to the tile.
right back to the metro. But what I thought was interesting was when you right-click it, it gives you a bunch of the stuff that you would usually get if you were sort of a power user
What,
through
like
like
shut down?
right-clicking on computer and hitting, manage or all that other stuff. All just is sort of listed all there when you right-click the start button instead.
I do think it's pretty cool that Windows is Microsoft. I guess at the stage demo build, they said they expect printing in 3D to be as easy as printing in 2D, even though it might be a little difficult to think of ways to
Like
do
you're
that.
gonna be in PowerPoint and just like print. Oh look, it's which device do I want? Oh, the 3D printer. Yeah, I'm just gonna use
Yeah.
that one.
That'd be pretty sweet. Maybe it'll make molds
not?
and you can then stamp and make printed versions of your. Wait a minute.
I want my bar
PowerPoint has got those
graph.
stupid
Hold back
box
there,
with
dude.
raised text boxes. Just think, somebody's going to do it.
I want my
Guaranteed
graph
someone's
charts
gonna
to
do it.
just pop right off the paper.
Yeah, no, I agree. I imagine the children's books you could print with it.
This is anyone doing.
I think it's actually really
Those are
cool.
children's
I want to
books.
get one. How much were these, Ken? Did you say you could buy one of these for like $1,000, $2,000?
Oh, cheaper than that. Way cheaper than that.
Really?
Oh yeah.
We get to build a lot of it yourself, but yeah.
I'm gonna talk to a guy.
And
We're gonna
in
talk to
fact,
guy-
if you
How
know
much-
someone
how
that
much does
has
the
one, there's
material-
only a couple of gears it can't reproduce itself.
Okay. The material is not very much either.
No.
And where can I download 3D models of things to print? Because I can't create them. I know that.
SourceForge, Make Magazine, the Windows 8.1 App Store pretty soon. 'Cause, I mean, they're going with this. The MakerBot 2.0 will be sold at Make stores, or sorry, at Microsoft stores.
Did we lose Jeremy?
Yeah, that was
video.
odd.
All right. So that's news. Maybe one more reason to install Windows 8.1. Another reason to maybe install Windows 8.1 is that DirectX 11.2 will be exclusive to it and the Xbox One. The release of DirectX 12 API may be uncertain, but that has not stopped Microsoft from building on the X11 API. Let's see. Tim wrote this up and said that DirectX 11.2 will include new major features like tiled resources. And that's all he mentioned, apparently. So, only coming to Windows 8.1 and the Xbox One. Josh, you think this is a problem?
I wasn't even listening to you. Could you repeat that question? Except using monosyllabic terms.
DirectX
No, just
11.2.
Yes?
Go ahead, Alan.
yeah. Well, it's just the next iteration of the driver model that Windows is going to use. So it's like, I don't know. I don't think it's a huge deal.
1.3?
They have to. You have to, like, if you're going to move things forward, you have to, like, I don't know. I don't know why they wouldn't port that version of DirectX back to at least. Well, I don't know. The argument might make is, well, how far do you want them to port it back? Right? Like, what do you want them to do? Not 8.1, just 8.0, as if nobody's going to update their Windows 8 to 8.1?
I wish they'd ported back to Vista.
Yeah, no.
Yes, Ken brings up the Halo 2 issue where that only played on Vista, right?
DX10.
Yeah, DX10. Okay.
So it doesn't work on Windows 7 or Windows 8?
It works on 7.
Oh, okay. I was going to say.
But a lot of people
that-
were using XP back
Yeah,
then.
it wouldn't
so
go
that's why-
Yeah.
backwards. It could
Yeah,
only
okay.
go forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's interesting news, I guess. Kind of. It sucks, but if is 8.1 going to be a free upgrade? No, it's not.
It should be. It should come out as a service pack-ish kind of thing.
Yep.
Is it? Going,
Yeah, it's going
is
to
it
be
not
free
going
from
to?
current users of 8.
If you've bought it.
If you bought Windows 8, you mean?
Yeah.
Or if it came
That's
on
what
your
I
system.
meant. If you bought Windows 8, you should get 8.1 for free. I'm not saying you go from 7 to 8.1. No. That's
No,
I
they
understand
decided not to call it Service Pack 1.
Yeah, it's just 8.1.
that. I'm fine with that. That doesn't matter. Service Pack 1 sounds very technical, and it confuses me. And I just like 8.1. It's like, oh, a new version. It's better. Great. Right? We can all handle
Right.
it. The world of X79 motherboards continues. I know what you're thinking. Hasn't the LGA 2011 socket been out for, like, ever? Yes, EVGA announced, though, a flagship X79 Dark.
Wow, that's dark.
It is an EATX board, 12-layer PCB, brand new UEFI BIOS, lots of overclocking features, 12 plus 2 VRM for the processor and memory. Oh, wait, no. 12 plus 2 for the CPU, 4 for the memory. Have any of you guys used EVGA motherboards in the last little while? I have not, I have to admit. They haven't sent us any for testing and reviews and that kind of deal, so... I think does Maury have one? No, that's right. Maury used their Mini ITX recently. So, we often get these questions about, is the LGA 2011 socket going away? What about Ivy Bridge G? I really can't answer any of those questions. But I can tell you that a LGA 2011 motherboard is out, and it's new, and it's also $399.
And of course, single socket and no extra PCIe lines.
Right.
I mean, it's got dual 16s, but not in the special way where you can do dual 16 properly.
Yeah, you can.
Which-
This is a Sandy Bridge G, right? So it's got 40 lanes of PCI Express to come out of it. right?
So yeah, but it's taken up. What did they go with? 5 of them altogether. Yeah, 5 PCI 3.0s, of which only 2 are electrically 16,
Okay.
and a single 4X slot. And with a SATA, yeah, you've 10 SATA ports. That's a hell of a lot of PCIe lanes right there.
Yeah. So he says all the physical PCIe 3.0 by 16 slots are at least electrically by 8, and 2 of them are electrically by 16. Does the X79 do PCI Express 3.0?
No, it's 2.0.
Nope.
Sandy Bridge E.
Yeah, I'd agree. Well, didn't they change? But they had the capability to do PCI 3.0, right? Because Ivy Bridge, they were able to push Z77 boards up to PCIe 3.0 specifications as well. So I wonder if that's what they're doing here on this motherboard too.
You mean
I miss the old days of the bridge chips. All those extra PCIe lanes from EVGA.
Well, I think they'll still have a board with that, especially when we get into the dual-socketed stuff.
Yeah.
And I think if there's any really, really, really huge refreshes, they would be smart to wait for the Ivy Bridge E release, which will hopefully be soon.
So how about that Intel product segmentation?
What about it?
It's annoying as...
Are you talking about
Yep.
because you have Sandy Bridge E, Ivy Bridge, and Haswell all selling at the same time?
And then not only that, but how about those high-end Haswell chips that don't have any kind of like, VTD support, except if you buy a lower end, and then some of those do, and then others do not.
This is the same deal that was on. You can
Ivy
go
and
way back
Sandy.
on that.
Yeah.
Whenever they have
Consistency.
whenever they have the GPU on them, you get rid of the VTD and and now you get rid of the shared memory extension stuff.
But they're still
Yeah.
selling those.
But
Right,
those
it's
features are
all
more
sort
meant
of
for
current
like really,
generation
really
products
enterprise
that have
stuff.
got this
You
diversity.
still get what is it, VTX, which is the standard VMware stuff. Or in other words, if you're just using VMware Workstation on your regular Windows install, you're good. It'll still work just fine. Yeah,
It sucks. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, didn't we? About
the VTD stuff is for like you're trying to. I think. Well, unless I'm jumbling the letters up in my head, but that's for like you have the bare bones like ESX whatever VMware server thing that just gives you like a console
Yeah.
basically, and it's just designed to run a bunch of VMs in it. It's like a business application of it. That's what you need that feature for, and then of course, yeah, you don't need the CPU that has the the K series basically to do that. But
Right.
yeah, it is kind of a silly thing because in a roundabout way, they just don't want you being able to overclock that hardware if you're able to use that CPU for that other application.
it's pretty dumb. Pretty dumb.
Because, in most
Yeah.
enterprise applications, you're going to overclock your hardware anyway.
I think Jeremy does that all the time. That's probably why he has so many support calls.
Oh God, yeah. If it's mission critical, it's got to be overclocked because the
of
more
course.
GBs, the better, right?
The more MHZs too, or
Yes.
GHZs.
GHD.
Or the GHBs.
All right. So on this next story, I have a request for everybody that's listening. ASUS, what show was this at? Was that Computex? Computex. They announced the PQ321, which is my favorite model number for a part ever. The PQ321. It's a 31.5-inch 4K monitor. It's on pre-order now for $30,499.99 at I think
30,000?
No.
30,000?
$3,499.99. If I screwed up before, I don't care. I just corrected
If I was Roman, I would say I'll take 5.
Oh God.
Yeah.
For people who weren't watching the video version, Josh held up 2 fingers in the shape of a V because Roman numerals and haha. It's funny.
Oh, yeah? I'll take 50.
Loser.
Oh, geez.
Okay, so here's why I need everybody's help. We're trying to get one of these in for review, and they're kind of being wishy-washy about, well, we'll see if we have one available, blah, blah, blah. So here's what everybody needs to do. They need to...
We're starting a new Indiegogo to buy Ryan one of these.
No. Much easier than that. Simply go to Twitter and say something to the effect of, hey, at ASUS, you should be sure to send at PCPer one of your 4K monitors so they can do a review. After all, they're the only people that have really done a lot of 4K gaming testing thus far. Plus, they did a hell of a job with it because they used frame rating, and it was really awesome testing. Please send them a monitor. And that's probably a little bit too long for 140 characters, but condense it, abbreviate, whatever you need to do. What I'm planning on doing is after everybody who's watching this live tweets about it and people do this from the podcast, I'm going to collect all these tweets and like print them out on one of those 3D printers, put it in a FedEx envelope,
Put it in
and
a big
mail
box.
it to them. Yeah.
Yeah, FedEx
Yeah.
box.
Yeah. Because each sheet's got to be at least, you got to have at least an eighth of an inch to keep that page rigidity on there. So
We've been reduced to printing slates. Again.
it's better than chiseling.
Form is making a comeback.
HP's doing that again?
It's better than chisels. I'm
You two
I'm really
can print the
excited to
Ten
test
Commandments
this
in their original tablet form.
I did. When I was in London, I went to the British Museum and I got to see the Rosetta Stone.
Nice.
Kind of interesting.
Sweet.
Yeah, I could print that out.
It's kind of big, isn't it?
It is very large. The part that we have still in existence, it's large. I also got to see
Make sure to print yourself a beard, too.
what is
if
it? The
you're gonna do that.
Parthenon. The Parthenon murals.
Yeah, that Greece is desperately trying to get back.
Yeah, that that the British people stole.
Yeah.
And just say, we'll keep them here. It's fine. Don't worry about it. And they're like, no, we'd like to have that in our museum. They're like, nah, come get them.
Oh, come on, it's Greece. They'll just pawn it off anyways.
They're just trying to get out of that budgetary crisis. $3,500 monitor. Obviously, it's expensive, but I think it would be a really good kind of use case. Let's see if what can we do with something a more reasonable size for a display than our 50-inch Seiki. And it's a 60 hertz 4K
poor
panel, too.
you.
It's too
Yeah.
big, Jeremy.
Okay, you know, I remember
it's
back
too
in the day,
big.
That's
you never
what-
hear that.
like back 10 years ago when we were discussing the need for anti-aliasing. Mm-hmm. And at about 2 feet from your monitor, if you've got a certain kind of angle and about 4K pixels across, it's hard enough to determine any kind of stepping with the pixels, with your visual acuity. And so, yeah, what was once kind of thought to be impossible is now looking far more probable. So you don't really need AA with a 30-inch 4K monitor.
And any of you that are running that should slap themselves and then give their 4K monitor to me.
Yeah, so yes, because the pixel density is so much better.
At worst, you would need very, very light.
Yes.
Like the minimal setting.
Like 2x AA, MSAA for sure. You wouldn't need
Because
to go
you really
to
want the
SSAA.
SSAA because, that's so
that was
efficient.
Tom's Hardware, right? That they wanted
No,
SSAA.
I think that was a non-tech. They had very limited time with some 4K monitor or something like that, and they ran all their tests with SAA, which is like, I guess if you just want to beat the crap out of hardware for no reason, you can do that. Like
There's that.
if you just want it to be as awful as possible, but not very realistic on why somebody would ever do that, you could do that. I mean, I agree. It's not
Because, SSAA takes that 4K monitor and essentially makes it into a 16K.
Yeah, because it takes 4 samples per pixel, right? So
Yeah.
it's just rendered at 16K. Why you gotta be so lazy, NVIDIA? Jesus, it's dumb.
On multiple displays while you're at it. Please.
Yeah.
Here, we built this quad Titan test bed so we could do this, SSAA 4K
Their
crap.
conclusion was you needed quad Titans to run 4K.
I don't know.
At 60
no,
hertz?
at the crazy, I don't know.
That was the
sarcasm,
conclusion?
Ryan. Sarcasm.
No,
Sarcasm.
No, Ken says in the non-tech article that was their conclusion. That you needed
good
quad
Lord.
Titan.
Well,
Oh, did they actually say that?
yeah, but
Wouldn't
it's
surprise me.
16XAA with FXAA and added or SAO.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
That's not correct. I haven't read the whole article yet,
Well,
so
for it
I'll
to be
just say
playable-
it's not correct.
For it to be playable, you probably would if they're cranking everything
If
up.
they
on
have
the-
SSAA on, sure, but to play it, to say that to play at 4K resolutions, you have to have quad Titans is obviously an incorrect statement. We did a lot of 4K testing here. Obviously, it was at 30 hertz, but we're just testing frame rates. It doesn't really matter what the refresh rate of the panel is. That affects your experience, but not the performance. And a single Titan was able to do really impressive stuff. And even a single, what did I have at the time? A single 680 or 680 SLIs were able to do it.
Oh, I gotta quote this. Ken posted it in
Yeah,
a
he
thing.
copied and pasted. It's brilliant.
In order to feel the full 60 frame per second average with max SSAA, we're looking at a quad SLI setup with GTX Titans. But you don't need SSAA. What is wrong with you?
And Josh, answer me this. Like, how much of a performance penalty would you guess SSAA adds to any random resolution?
It's like a fourth.
Yeah, it's insane.
Huge.
It's MSAA and FXAA. MSAA is the multi-sampling AA that they use a kind of special buffer for, and it's very fast. You get maybe about a 20% hit in most modern cards with that. FXAA is kind of shader based,
Right.
and TXAA, and so your hit is actually less than that. But when you're going full super sampling AA, which we first saw in the
3D effects.
GeForce 2. No, it was the GeForce 2. What was their really fast version of the Ultra, GF2 Ultra, that they first implemented that in, and that was the only card they could do that in because it had the performance to be able to take the hit. Because 3D effects
480.
basically used an MSAA, except they called the T buffer.
Yep.
And then later on with the GeForce 3 and later, they all used MSAA because it had a far less hit. But super sampling AA, yeah, you take 4 samples of a pixel, so you've got a 4K resolution, and you're sampling essentially
Every
16K
pixel.
pixel.
Yeah, that's
Every
a per
single-
pixel hit.
Every
on
single
performance.
pixel, regardless of any other algorithm that could be used to enhance performance, right? Which is what MSAA does, and TXA and FXA. Well, not FXAA. Yeah.
Yeah,
In other words, if you're drawing a red square
it's the wrong way
on
to
the
go.
screen, right? Single red square on the screen, you're still sampling everything 4 times over.
Yeah. But I mean, if that's 100 by 100 square, 100 pixel square, that's actually 400 pixels that it's screwing with.
Yes.
400 by 400.
So on a 4K, that's insane.
It might be some pixels.
Just a couple.
Well,
I was talking
someone
about,
kind of
like,
dropped the ball at
The
a
outline,
nod.
not even.
So this is
But God
why
bless him.
we need to tell ASUS to send us that 4K monitor so we can do proper testing and show that you can buy this monitor and not have to invest $4,000 in graphics cards to get the best experience out of it. So everybody tweet that out. If you don't do it right now, you're not allowed to listen to the show anymore. That means there should be like 35,000 million tweets about this by this time tomorrow.
Yeah, you didn't realize what you were signing up for when you signed up for the Gold Club, but there are prerequisites.
There's work to do in it. Like there's an effort. Well, I think, did we talk about this earlier? This was before the show. The TechNet subscription ending August 31st, 2013. Microsoft, it will retire the TechNet software evaluation subscription service. Does this affect everybody in this group, I assume?
Well, like my bosses would pay for an MSDN subscription.
Well, that's how I register the test bed boxes.
Through TechNet?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what we use. That's what I have used forever for all of our test beds was TechNet keys for Windows 7. And when they went from Windows 7 to Windows 8, they lowered your number of keys per account from 7 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm sorry, from 10 to 3. I don't know how I got that.
2.
From 10 to 2. You only got 2? We got 3 on Windows 8.
Yeah, 2 or 3.
Maybe you're
there
just not
was
as cool as
something.
us.
But you can activate each one of those 2 or 3 10 times.
Oh, really? I never even bothered to try. We only have a handful of those set up yet. But for the lifespan of the operating system, we will have many more. It was a good deal. It was $250 a year, and you had access to basically all of their software. I think, with the exception of a few super high-end enterprise products.
DOS 1.
You can get DOS 1.
like Windows 1. Yeah.
I think
they're
we
all
tried
there.
to download Windows 3 at some point and put it on a system for some reason, but so they're
Well, that was
apparently
probably when that evolution of Windows came out and you wanted to replicate it.
could be. So they're taking that away apparently, and you have until September 30th, 2014. If you have an active subscription, you must buy the subscription before August 31st, 2013. So you'll be able to have it through towards the end of 2014. So it'll still be around. It's a sad thing to do, and their workaround is, hey, get an MSDN subscription. Is that right? Or use
Yep.
our demo software.
Yeah, because we're
Spend
developing.
10 times as much. It's fine.
Developers.
Well, that's what I don't get. TechNet was always a gateway drug. It was like, hey, oh well, you're thinking about going with a different operating system. Well, I'll just mock you up, in a lab, exactly what we can replicate with a Microsoft product for free because I've
Although-
got a TechNet subscription. Oh, hey, this is what we want, and boom, all of a sudden now Microsoft is selling OSs, server
That's
OSs,
the whole idea, right? Yeah.
CALs, everything. Now, well, good luck getting an MSDN license just to show off to prospective customers what you might be able to do.
Yeah.
What was their other? It wasn't TechNet.
No,
But it was for the OEM guys.
There was a
You could-
different.
it
I
was
forgot
like
the name.
$250, $300 a year.
Pirate Bay.
yeah.
I don't remember what it was. You got
This was
all
a
their
while ago.
software.
But
You got
on the
all-
on the plus side, there is one good thing on this: the TechNet forums, the TechNet news feeds, like all of that stuff, is not actually going away. Because hey, even if you weren't getting stuff from it, it was still a good knowledge base that will still be there.
Action Pack. Somebody in the
That's it. Action Pack.
Action Pack, $300 a year, and you
Well, that
got
was a long time ago, Josh.
$10,000 worth of software.
Yep.
Leaked AMD APUs, the A8-6500T and A10-6700T. Richland is apparently going to hit 45-watt TDPs in quad core. Josh, what do you think about this?
I think that's good
All
because
right, moving on.
guys like HP and others like low wattage stuff, so they don't have to include a lot of cooling and power with their products. So AMD is obviously looking for a niche market to sell these, and they can do it with the latest Richland APUs because there are enough BIOS tweaks and tweaks in the silicon that they can hit these points and still have fairly decent performance, because we only know it's got a base clock of 2.5 gigahertz or so, and likely they're going to be boosting that up to 3.3 to 3.5 in certain workloads and still not really get over that 45 watt TDP.
All right. I'm trying to look at the specs here. The GPU model on the 6500T is actually the 8550.
8550.
So the
But then if you
8650.
look right to the right of that, it's the full, 8650D?
Right.
Yeah, that's the full meal deal.
The full meal deal.
Yeah.
Great. It's awesome. So yeah, that's cool. I guess that's all I got. Leaked information, guys. That's the way of the world.
There's
Yeah.
more leaks.
Yeah,
Speaking
might as
of
well
leaks,
stick with it.
Alan,
Alan is full of
I was trying to. I looked at this title and I tried to figure out when Q5 was.
It's not Q5.
Because Q5 is after December, but I was pretty sure January is after December, and that is Q1.
It is a 5-quarter.
Intel is so cool. They've also developed a new quarter.
5-quarter
That's where they
roadmap.
make all their money.
Yes.
All right, so explain.
Intel can sell more products if they just squeeze 5 quarters into a year. No, be awesome. No, so there's a roadmap for this year and then 1 quarter into next year that leaked. It was on, I think, VR Zone or yeah, that's the usual.
I like
leaky place.
word wrapping of Q3.
Yeah,
Dash
I don't know
one,
what
three.
happened there. Whatever, I didn't make that slide.
Yeah.
But it basically shows which direction Intel's hopefully or might or whatever going to go with their consumer all the way up through their enterprise products. So the 320 series is just sort of going to drop off. So is the 330 series. It's all going to move over to the 335 series, which was the SandForce with the 20 nanometer flash. That was that unit.
Okay.
That's sort of the low end consumerish, right? And then a little higher end consumerish, which is usually the 500 series stuff, right? The 510 is already gone, but we still have the 520 and the 525. Those are all Sandforce units.
Okay.
They're going to switch at some point, like in another few months, to the 530 series, which I can't tell from the slide, but it might still be Sandforce, maybe. I'll get to that in a second. Then they're going to introduce a Pro family, which is going to sit between the consumer and the enterprise, which is like a 1500 and a 2500 series. I'm going to guess that is going to borrow the Intel's own 8-channel controller, 6 gigabit that they introduced with the data center, the data center drives, the S3700 and S3500 that we just reviewed in our big old roundup that happened last week. I think they're going to trickle those down into that sort of middle ground there, and maybe put, less quality or less binned flash into it or something like that, and just make it non-enterprise but still performing pretty good. Something like that, probably. And then if you move up to all the way up to the excuse me, all the way up to the enterprise sector, which right now they have the S3500 and S3700. It looks like they're sort of going to phase out the S3700 even. I'm guessing because they don't expect that much of a need for wear capability of those drives. So the 3700 had 25 nanometer flash and the 3500 had 20 nanometer. I think Intel's just sort of generally pushing, hey, 20 nanometer is good enough. And actually, if you look at that chart, all the orange stuff is 20 nanometer. They color coded it based on the type of flash.
Color.
Right? So everything's sort of shifting into orange. They're just really trying to push 20 all the way out to everything, including all the way up into the enterprise. So that's for the serial ATA, and actually that's what the S stands for in that 3500 and 3700 is the serial ATA units of their enterprise, right? And then they have what they're going to introduce is a P 3500 and 3700, which is going to be, now they kind of made a different kind of color there. I guess it's not going to be 25 nanometer. It's going to be 20 nanometer high endurance, which I didn't know was even possible, but I guess they're going to start making it in a year. And those two units are going to replace the 910 series, which, as we found out when we did the roundup, the 910 series isn't. I mean, it's nice that it has 4 units on board and everything like that, but when you compare it to the more recent serial ATA units, per unit, the serial ATA stuff just sort of beats it. So, you could just take 4 of those and it would outperform a 910, which is like a card that would cost, I don't know, 5 times as much per gig as just buying the 4 of the newer units. So that's all that. Oh yeah, and intermixed with all that is just, serial ATA or MSATA or M.2, which is pretty much across all of those various models. They're just going to be introducing them in all of those form factors.
Oh, okay.
But will the M.2 fit in the Apple books?
No.
Because
I can tell you that right now, because Apple makes their own proprietary thing that they...
You can't get a hammer and screwdriver to really make it work?
Maybe.
Soldering
I
iron? Soldering iron, maybe?
Pup, do it.
We'll figure it out. Is that it on that story then? That's what we're expecting from Intel for this year?
Funny.
All right. Let's get into our hardware software picks of the week. Let me actually click on these links here too. Everybody get their picks ready. This is going to be the exciting time here.
No, don't pull that one up, Ryan. You're not allowed to have that one yet.
Huh? What am I doing? Am I breaking something?
No, grab the other thing.
The other thing.
That thing.
Don't grab that.
Yeah,
Don't grab the
support
thing you're not allowed
this.
to
Not my
have.
father.
Here's my pick. This is the newly updated AR Drone 2.0 from Parrot.
Hey, where are the little fan shrouds?
Well, that is a different cover. So see, this cover comes off.
Fan shrouds are for suckers, Josh.
Yeah,
Fan shrouds are
Ryan
for-
doesn't roll with shrouds.
Well, fan shrouds are supposedly used for indoor because that allows it, if it hits a wall or something like that, and it doesn't damage the blades. But when you're outdoor, you want to use it without the shroud because it has less, the wind can affect it less. Right.
Aerodynamics, that's why.
Also, if you want to fly by and buzz somebody, like I did to Ken several times today, totally accident. totally an accident. You do it like this, and it's much more scary when the blades. Like I chopped off a sizable branch of a tree. I don't say branch. I'll say twig of a tree as I flew by it earlier. And then it was actually kind of cool. I increased the maximum height that it would go up to. I think about 100 feet. Right. I don't think I got up that high. But I was
Did it get into the jet stream?
so it has a camera.
Probably far away.
Yeah, it has a camera on the front. It has a camera on the bottom, and I was using it to go over the tree level so I could watch the fireworks going off across the city. So it was actually
Either
kind
that
of fun.
or look at the white trash neighbors in the trailer park.
Oh yeah. Now
Watching the fireworks.
Alan wants me to bring this to QuakeCon and fly it throughout the hotel.
Yes.
Now I will tell you right now that I need to be much better at piloting it than I was today, in order for me to take that challenge on. But I think with a couple of unique devices at my disposal, I'll be able to do that. I will put the shrouds on for that though, because I don't want to be sued, I guess is the reason for that, if that's a thing. You know.
$5 says it gets tangled up in that little floating fish thing in the aviary.
Oh, that would be bad.
Yes, don't do that.
Don't do that. That would be bad.
Aviary. It's called an atrium. There are no birds in that atrium to make it.
That makes sense.
Listen, there's always at least one bird in there, and then it's an aviary.
I will say the
Yeah.
battery life on this is still very poor. It's only 1,000 milliamp hour. And
Can you use the extra batteries that you bought for your previous one for that one?
maybe, but I think they might have been discharged so long that they're dead. I don't know.
Oh.
I'm gonna try to charge them again tonight. But I mean, it's only 1,000 milliamp hour battery, and it only lasts 10 minutes of flying time, maybe 15 minutes or something like that. So there's
boy,
no,
it could be the
there's
best
no
10
reason
minutes of your life,
There's no
depending on
reason
your
in a
location.
thing like this that's this size you can't have a 2,000 or 3,000 milliamp hour battery. I mean, I can get a 2,200 milliamp battery in my phone. I get a 4,500 milliamp battery in that extended HTC Evo, right? So,
I think it's because of the cost.
well, then sell me one that's a little bit more.
Because it
I'm
has
sure
to be
there's
a decent grade battery because, you're discharging it at 1/6 of its capacity. It's a
Yeah.
pretty,
That's true. Still,
Yeah.
not my problem. Fix it, people. Oh no, what did I do? Okay, all right. So that's my pick. I don't even know how much it costs. How much are those things? $300?
Yep.
Lord. I tell you what, it's really fun though. It really is fun. We were outside this afternoon playing around with it, and I landed on the back of the truck and stuff.
wait a minute. You got this thing, you bought it, and you didn't even,
Didn't buy it.
you didn't,
He got it.
did you buy it?
I
know
got
you,
it.
Ryan.
He,
You buy
he
these
acquired it.
I acquired it.
things. Oh, okay, I see.
We'll talk about it later.
Not jailbreak.
This
Hey,
is
does it do 1080p?
no.
It can.
It's 720p, I think.
Oh well, still that's better than most vivid videos.
Most what? Oh. Well, you're not watching them at the right sites then, Josh, I guess is what I'll tell you.
I guess.
All right. So that's my pick. We'll have more on that later when we spend some more time with it, and it's pretty fun. Jeremy, what do you have?
Well, I'll quickly breeze over this because picking a game does seem sort of like a cop-out, but Mike Diskett, the guy that did Syndicate Wars, is now doing something called Satellite Rain. It's in Kickstarter. Throw money at this game.
Yeah.
If you don't, then my second pick, which is
Okay.
the actual a little bit techie one, is Hackaday just put up something about how to take apart safely, more or less, lithium cells and circuits. A lot of the ones, like the one that you can see there that's done as a trio, if one of those cells dies, it will now report itself as dead, even if those other two are just perfectly fine. So they've put together quite a few different tutorials on how to take apart these lithium cell batteries and salvage them for other purposes, like, say, a long-lasting taser gun for anybody that doesn't support Satellite Rain.
What about for longer battery life of an AR drone 2.0?
This is, well, go to this site and look up AR drone.
Okay. I'll do that.
You will not believe this, up to and including, once Ken gets a 3D printer, there is a way to mount guns on this thing. It's true.
I want one that runs on propane, like we saw at CES.
All right, here we go. Let's see. Adding Node.js based sensors to the paired AR drone. A shocking mod for the AR drone. Extending the range of the AR drone. That is the issue I've run
How
into
high up
so
is
far.
that thing?
It's not 100 feet up.
A little bit higher.
That's the issue that I've had so far, is that it seems that the video coming back to us
Yeah, that's the lens
Goes
giving
out
it
pretty quick.
horizon.
Oh.
let's see. Now we're getting back into 2010, so we'll have to look up other stuff. But yeah, all right. Batteries. It's Dutch. Josh, your pick?
I want the remote control B52 that you see in YouTube videos. It was only $50,000
Okay.
to build. No.
Can you pilot it
This
through
is-
an Android device?
No, you cannot.
Okay.
Anyway, I was real original in the pick. For $129 plus $10 mail-in rebate, $119. This is a great card for any kind of budget enthusiast. HTPC. Yeah, it's two
Two-slot.
slot, but runs cool, runs pretty fast.
You still keeping
And
those
it's
blue condom
better.
things on there?
What's that?
You still keeping those blue condom things on all those connectors?
Why not?
Yeah, because I'm not supposed to touch these, and it cautions me.
Oh, okay.
Caution.
All right. I have so
Yeah.
many of those little pieces of plastic from DVI ports sitting around these desks. It's kind of crazy.
But at least they're softer than Legos.
They are. If you step on them, it won't hurt nearly as bad.
Yeah.
Nearly as bad. All right, Alan, you're last on the list.
All right, so you plug USB, whatever, phones, miscellaneous things into your computer because you want to charge them,
Yeah, I do.
and you don't know for sure how fast they're being charged because these things never tell you how fast they're being charged, right?
Okay.
You don't know if it's like 2.5 watts or 5 watts or whatever it works out to, or 5 watts or 10 watts, right? Because of the amperage coming out of the USB port. Well, there's these guys, and they're making this thing called a practical meter, and I think it's like $10 or $20 or something like that. It's on a Kickstarter, and it's just a little, really simple inline dongle-looking thing for a USB port, and it has a little bar graph on it, and it shows you what rate you're charging at, basically.
Okay.
It's pretty cool, right?
Sure.
Because it's literally like double the charging rate. It's either kind of pretty crappy or like double or maybe even more depending on how old your hardware is or whatnot. So the other cool thing is that thrown in with that is a charging cable that has, I think, mini, micro, and the older style iPhone, not lightning, connectors on it.
Right.
And it's a charge-only cable, but it's like a 3-way charge cable.
Yeah.
And
So it's pretty hot.
and it's, since it doesn't have the data lines in it, it's basically, I think they have the resistance built into it so that the devices will automatically charge at the higher rate, regardless of what they're plugged into, pretty much. So you can get like the speedy charging rate no matter what, using that cord that they threw on.
So they don't have a
And then
lightning.
you
They
can
don't have a lightning
verify.
connector though.
Do what?
They don't have the lightning connector though.
They do not, but if you have one of those cheesy, adapter thingies, you can get that.
Oh.
The lightning, anybody that's been trying to put lightning connectors on anything has been delayed in their rollout of whatever because of Apple being douches.
I've
like-
heard that before.
Yeah.
But the cable's
that's probably
white,
why
so
they
that
just-
matches.
That's probably why they just said, well, screw it. We're just not going to put a lightning connector on it.
All right. So they have gotten $75,000 of their $9,999 goal.
Yep.
So that's a plus, I guess.
I
Estimated
think they're going to
shipping.
make it.
Yeah, I think they'll start making it. And these are the same guys that made that, what was it, that little heat charging thing? It was like a little camping stove thing. I forgot the name of
Cook
it.
your phone.
What? No, it was a cool little camping stove thing that had a thermoelectric generator. The power pot.
No idea.
There you go.
No idea.
But I just shot Ken a link. If you're sick of stepping on Lego, there is a perfect solution.
You
Uh-oh.
cut your leg off and make it out of Legos.
Exactly,
Oh,
and it's
yeah,
not
that
going to
was a
hurt
cool
anyone.
video.
You walk over the Legos and you get taller.
That sounds like a bad idea.
Seems to work well for her.
It's
She's
kind
stud,
of
though.
unstable. Every time she kept taking a step on it, it would like break the foot off.
Or just get longer.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. That's everybody. That makes 4 picks by my count. That's the end of the show. Not a whole lot of news going on this week. Next week, we should have a much more interesting list of topics. I know Ken reviewed and broke a device we'll talk about next week.
Way to go, Ken.
Awesome.
I will have my story finally that looks at various integrated graphics through frame rating. I'm hopefully going to have that finished and written up sometime tomorrow. Alan has some things.
I do.
Josh has a thing.
Yeah, well, at least if ASUS gets it to me.
Okay.
Maybe.
And I know Steve has a laptop review queued up, and Maury
Steve?
has another Z87 review.
The other Steve.
Steve Shardine.
Oh,
New Steve.
I thought you were going Steve crazy there for a minute.
No, we got a new Steve. So I still have to call him by his first name, though, so you just have to catch up with the rest of us.
Yes, yes.
And then Maury has another Z87 motherboard or 2 or 3 or 4.
Because you know what? There's not going to be
Jacked up.
very many Z87 boards.
we
out on the
may
market.
we may finally run out after about
Yeah,
the
right.
second. No, we probably have about 45 queued up, so we'll be
Yeah.
good for a little while. We should be good. We are confirmed for QuakeCon. Ken moans.
1 month.
We have exactly 1 month, less than 1 month actually, because our event will be on the 3rd, July. Today's the 3rd. Yeah, today's the 3rd. We have exactly 1 month, and I haven't done jack. So the rest of this month we'll be preparing for QuakeCon. If you're going to be at QuakeCon, that's awesome. Let us know. We're going to do the workshop on Saturday, I think at noon or 1 again. Basically the exact same format that we had last year. We're going to make up some T-shirts. I'm going to wander around.
So everybody get on Twitter
It's
and
pretty
tell
much QuakeCon.
every manufacturer to send to Ryan a bunch of stuff.
No. Don't send it to me because then I have to take it down there. I'm going to
Oh.
send it down there.
Yes.
Actually,
Unless, of course, you
Maury-
ask ASUS to do your 4K monitor. Then Twitter like the wind.
yes, do Twitter like the wind to ASUS about the monitor thing. And then Maury has actually offered for me to have everything shipped to his house, and then he'd bring it to QuakeCon. And I said, Maury, do you know how big of a truck you would need for this? Like, how many pounds does
It's
it
like, you
have?
got a Civic hatchback.
Yeah. Well, you can put that in the semi with the other stuff.
We had 3 or 4 pallets worth of stuff last year too. So check out QuakeCon.org if you're interested in attending. You don't have to go to the BOIOC to go to the workshop, so you can be there for that. And come say hi to us if nothing else.
Hi.
Hi. Wait, I
Can we
guess I
end?
got to book
No.
Josh a flight. So.
Yeah.
Yep, we're going to end the show, everybody. Thanks for listening. PCPer.com/podcast is the URL to share. PCPer.com/live is the URL to go to if you want to watch us record this on Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Pacific. Figure it out on your own for other time zones. That's it.
Do you ever check the voicemail anymore?
I do. Nothing comes in interesting.
Nah.
I get an email with
interesting.
I get an email with a WAV file every time somebody sends a voicemail in. So trust me, I get them. And if they're like 3-minute long voicemails, we can't play them. So it's not useful. And if they're not super funny, then I'm not going to play it for 3 minutes anyway. You know, it's been a while since we had any missed dials, and that's a little disappointing, to be completely honest. So call it if you want. 888. I don't know.
AAA?
38 PC per. 888.
Yeah.
38 PC per. Or is it 877? 888 38 PC per.
888
I got it.
38 PC
I got
per.
it. All right, everybody. That's it. We'll see you next week. I'm Ryan Shrout.
I'm Jeremy Hellstrom.
I'm Josh Walrath.
I'm Alan Malventano.
Bye. That was my show notes. Bye.